occurring on a massive scale. This highly lethal fallout is being expelled into the oceans and atmosphere, killing a huge amount of marine life and contaminating thousands of miles of the Pacific Ocean, and still spreading. The radioactive fallout that's being expelled into the atmosphere is going global, contaminating food and animal life forms throughout this planet, which in turn is being digested by the human and animal population. Unless this major Fukushima disaster is dealt with, we are all finished. In the Gulf of Mexico, oil is still gushing into the Gulf from the BP oil disaster, which has killed most, if not all, of the marine life, but not forgetting the huge amounts of chemicals that have been put into the Gulf of Mexico to submerge all the massive amounts of oil expelled from the broken wellhead, just so the public can't see with their own eyes the floating of oil on the surface of the Gulf of Mexico. This major event has had a knock-on effect, slowing if not stopping the warm ocean currents reaching the northern hemisphere. Chemtrailing is another major factor that is adding to our planet's death knells. The massive amounts of lethal chemicals being sprayed into our atmosphere is causing major illnesses as well as contaminating the air we breathe. What the hell are our leaders doing to us? You would think they were trying to kill us all. Well, this may not be far from the truth. If there was not a Planet X heading our way, which there is, we, our leaders, have put in motion an event that will ultimately lead to Earth becoming a lifeless, dead piece of rock floating through the cosmos. Well done, leaders. I'm sure you're proud of yourselves. This next report originates from thetruthseeker.co.uk, titled GM Health Study They Don't Want You to Know About, and this was posted by Claire Robinson. The most detailed scientific study ever conducted on the health effects of a genetically modified GM food was published last year. The findings of the study, led by Professor Gilles-Eric Sarlini at the University of Caen in France, was shocking. Rats fed over a 2-year period with 2 Monsanto products, a GM maize and tiny amounts of the Roundup herbicide that the maize is engineered to tolerate being sprayed with, had increased rates of severe organ damage, tumours and premature deaths. The study should have been a wake-up call to the world, but most members of the public and the scientific community are in danger of learning nothing from it. The reason, within hours of the study release, an orchestrated media campaign swung into action to discredit it. Quotes from scientists criticising the paper were circulated by the UK-based Science Media Centre, SMC, an organisation which claims to be independent and to aim to ensure the public have access to the best scientific evidence, while at the same time taking funding from GM companies. SMC Director Fiona Fox later said that she took pride in the fact that the SMC's emphatic thumbs down had largely been acknowledged throughout UK newsrooms. Few newspapers had covered the story, and those that did used quotes supplied by the Science Media Centre. She added that several television news programmes had also rejected the story after reading the quotes. This following report originates from thetruthseeker.co.uk, titled Retired Army General Calling for the Forced Resignation of Obama, and this was posted by Efkin. A retired Army General is calling for the forced resignation of President Obama, other administration officials and the leadership of Congress for the direction they've taken the nation. His list of grievances include the systematic political purge of hundreds of senior military officers in the US military. Retired Major General Paul E. Valley told WND he is calling for nationwide rallies and protests to demand the resignation, and added that a peaceful civil uprising is still not out of the question. In his capacity as chairman of the organisation Stand Up America, Valley issued what he termed a national call to action to force the resignation of Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, Senator Majority Leader Harry Reid, the Democrat Nevada, Senator Majority Leader Mitch Connelly, Republican KY, House Speaker John Boehner, Republican Ohio, and House Majority Leader Nancy Pelosi, Democrat California. Valley, formerly the Deputy Commanding General of Pacific Command, said the current crop of leaders must be forced to resign by the demand resignation process, which he explained requires massive grassroots protests and social networking. As an example, he cites the public and media pressure that led to the resignation of President Richard Nixon. Impeachment, Valley said, is not a viable option because of partisan politics. Our federal government continues down the path of destroying America, he said. Americans must now stand up and put America back on the right track. In issuing his national call to action, Valley said the federal government has not subsided in sucking the oxygen, and we call to action all branches of governments to do your constitutional duties and not to be led astray in the cultural and moral decay of America. We have witnessed far too many lies, he said, as well as deception and the corruption of the Republic. Valley reminds Americans that the Declaration of Independence itself states that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organising its power in such form as to them shall seem more likely to affect the safety and happiness. Valley said the nation he long defended is self-destructing before our very eyes because of our inept and incompetent leadership in Washington. The battle is on, he added, and we shall not retreat. This report originates from dailycensored.com, titled JFK, Was He One of the CIA's Greatest Hits? By guest writer. Just days before John F. Kennedy took office in 1961, President Dwight Eisenhower famously warned about the dangers of its growing military-industrial complex. At that time, neither leader could have foreseen how prophetic those words would become. Today, after half a century of dealing with doubts throughout America and returning to the JFK assassination, better informed by new research and fresh thinking, as a result, we're able to support an emerging narrative, the story of a brave president committed to peace who repeatedly resisted intense pressures from ultra-nationalist groups and the national security establishment, especially the CIA, and paid the ultimate price. For better and for worse, stories do matter. On so many issues, most of us sense that the government officials and corporate media aren't telling us the truth. Sometimes, though, the tales they tell get way too tall. It's a small wonder that 2/3 of Americans doubt the standard story that a loner killed JFK, and then 2 days later another loner shot the killer, and that neither had a good reason. That won't pass the sniff test. To view the full transcript, go to my website endtimes23.com, where I posted the link. Now a personal view by the Informer. Wake up, America. We all know President John F. Kennedy was assassinated by the orders of the corrupt elite of the shadow government that really runs the United States of America. And why? Because he was going to come clean about the top secret shadow government and their secret space program. John F. Kennedy was one of the greatest American presidents ever, and your own corrupt elite had him killed. This next report originates from Scott.net, titled Up to 5 million seabirds likely to have died on Australian and New Zealand beaches. And this was posted by Bill Hoffman, Sunshine Coast Daily, on Thursday the 28th of November 2013. Concern raised over a number of dead birds on coast beaches. Lindsay Dines has been watching dead mutton birds washing at Tiwa for more than a month. He knows death is part of their migratory fate. Their long figure 8 of the Pacific that starts in Tasmania, touches the Northern Hemisphere, Aleutian Islands and then California before the long journey home. But Lindsay fears something more is at play. The avid fisherman and environmentalist has deep concerns about the numbers dying. I'm told that a month ago a count was done by someone, 25,000 between Noosa North Shore and Caloundra, he said. And there are media reports of dead birds extending from Bundaberg to southern coast of Victoria, plus Tasmania and New Zealand's west coast, in abnormally large numbers and along all beaches, creating great concern in communities all along the coast. All birds tested by vets were found to be emancipated and starving. Given the range of the deaths and numbers being reported, Mr. Dines fears as many as 5 million birds may have died. To view the full transcript, go to my website, endtimes23.com, where I've posted the link. This following report originates from the MalaysianInsider.com, titled Hong Kong quarantines 19 people over second bird flu case, and this was posted on December the 7th, 2013. In April this year, officials test poultry at the border with mainland China in Hong Kong as part of measures against the spread of the deadly H7N9 bird flu. Hong Kong today quarantined an additional 19 people after the city confirmed its second human case of the deadly H7N9 bird flu, less than 5 days after it confirmed its first, officials said. The 19 people were close contacts of the second carrier of the H7N9 in the city, an 80-year-old Hong Kong man who had been living in the neighbouring mainland Chinese city of Shenzhen. The man developed a fever and was found to be infected with the virus yesterday after he was admitted in the city's Chung Mun Hospital on Tuesday due to underlying medical conditions. 19 close contacts of the patients have been quarantined, a government statement released today said. Out of the 19 quarantined, 13 had stayed in the same cubicle with the elderly man at the city's Chung Mun Hospital. 5 were his family members and 1 other was the taxi driver who drove him from the border to the hospital, the statement said. 18 of the quarantine patients have tested negative for the deadly virus, while the test results of an asymptomatic patient was pending. All 19 will be quarantined for 10 days since their last contact with the carrier. Officials are still investigating whether or not the 80-year-old patient, who remains in stable condition, had come into contact with poultry on the mainland. On Monday, the city admitted a 36-year-old Indonesian domestic helper who was infected with the virus. She had a history of travelling to Shenzhen, buying a chicken, slaughtering and eating the chicken, Hong Kong Health Minister Ko Wing Man has said of the patient, who remains in a critical condition. Health officials said they have not found any links between the 2 cases. The government has placed 17 people who have been in close contact with the Indonesian patients under quarantine since Tuesday. This following report originates from thetruthDenied.com, titled Planet X, The Truth Behind the Lies, and this was posted by Laura Croft on April the 8th, 2013. The following photos was taken by The Truth Denied during the Venus transit that occurred on June the 5th and 6th of 2012. The 2012 transit of Venus, when the planet Venus appeared as a small dark disk moving across the face of the Sun, began at 22:09 UTC on 5th of June 2012 and finished at 4:49 UTC on 6th of June. Depending on the position of the observer, the exact times varied by up to 7 minutes. Transits of Venus are among the rarest of predictable celestial phenomena and occur in pairs, 8 years apart, which are themselves separated by more than a century. The previous Venus transit took place on June the 8th, 2004, preceded by the pair of appearances on the 9th of December 1874 and 6th of December 1882. And the next pair of transits will occur on the 10th and 11th of December 2117 and in December 2125. What sparked our attention was the ability to view the transit by means of a Nikon P100 HD 10.3 megapixel camera filtered by a welder's lens, which gave us the ability to shoot the photos that was seen in the video and as well in this article. You may ask yourself, what does Planet X have to do with the Venus transit? That's a great question. See, it wasn't until the filming of the Venus transit that we found more revealed once the footage was downloaded. As you can see in the following photo, other celestial bodies came into view, which not only astounded us, it baffled us. Why isn't the news reporting this? Why has NASA not said a peep? This final report originates from ZetaTalk.com, the ZetaTalk newsletter, issue 374, and it was posted on Sunday, December the 1st, 2013, titled Eclipse Revelations. Eclipses always reveal some elements of the Planet X presence, as this history of eclipses in issue 295 of this newsletter on May the 27th, 2012 details. Eclipses are at present assisted, so they occur at all, given the moon's erratic orbit and the Earth's wobble. Why not just let the much publicised eclipse fail, and by this announce to the world that there is something amiss in the heavens, per the Zetas, until the announcement reveals that a cover-up has been in place? It would be too much of a shock to too many people for such an event as an eclipse to simply fail to occur. Zeta Talk prediction, the 20th of the 6th, 2009. The pattern has been that all events such as an eclipse have been assisted, so that those who would go insane if presented by the truth will not be pressed to this extent. At some point, of course, this will change. Just when that time comes, we will not say. The solar eclipse of November the 3rd and 4th of 2013 thus occurred as expected, and numerous photos were published. All looked normal, but was it? A plethora of photos from the Space and Space Weather Gallery sites showed a red rim around the sun during the full eclipse, and a dual jewel on the edge when the sun reappeared. The twin jewel did not line up with the sunspots on the sun and had no explanation, nor did the red rim shown on this Yahoo photo have an explanation. It certainly was not present in the eclipse prior to the arrival of Planet X in the inner solar system in 2003. Compare the solar eclipse in 2000 to the 2013 solar eclipse. Zeta Talk observation, 11th of the 9th, 2013. Only the rim of the sun is showing, and due to the glare of the sun being naturally reduced by the moon, light from the Planet X complex can be readily seen. It becomes dominant, though it's taken by the ignorant public to be sunlight. During an eclipse, the spot where the sun returns becomes brilliant, like a diamond on a ring. Why would there be such locations not aligned with flares or sunspots on the sun? The reddish rim of the sun is likewise not even, but showing a lit spot where no sunspot or flare exists. Such nonsenses are lost on the general public, who assume if no fuss is made by professionals, then nothing is amiss. Compare the solar eclipse of 2000, when Planet X was not in the vicinity.